What's up, everybody? Silas Nacita here with the Helvetic Guards. This is my first season in the European League of Football, and last week we played our first game against the Barcelona Dragons. Now, I've played football all over Europe. I've played in Germany, I've played in Italy, and I've played in Austria. This is the first time I've ever played in this league, and it's the real deal. I have to admit, I remember hearing a few years ago when this league first started that there was this new league and it was going to take off and it was going to be really legit, most professional league in Europe. And I was skeptical at first, for sure, because football is a very difficult thing to just start. The league, it's not as easy as soccer where you just have a soccer ball. You got to have uniforms, helmets, shoulder pads, all the equipment. It's just really expensive. And so there have been leagues that have started and failed. And so when I first heard about it, I was pretty skeptical, but all the skepticism is gone. Last week, we played against the Barcelona Dragons in Barcelona. It was a great game. Hats off to the Dragons for winning that game. They got a lot of impressive Spanish players. I'll tell you what, I was very impressed by the Spanish football players. I had never played a game against the Spanish guys. Have I? I don't think so. No. Never in my career in Europe have I played against a team from Spain, and I was very impressed by the players. They run around, they fly around, and they hit hard, and they play with heart. One of the guys on that team, speaking of which, is from America, and his name is Conor Miller.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, there he is. The man, Conor Miller. I'm recording here, and I was just talking to the people about your team and the Spanish players, and I was really impressed by those guys.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude. So tell me right off the get-go, I'm here with Conor Miller, quarterback for the Barcelona Dragons. You've played in Europe for how many years?
So this is my fourth season in Europe. I've played in the GFL, the AFL, the Austrian Football League, France last year, the FFFA. I'm not going to try to say it in French. My French is terrible. And then I played a couple games with Leipzig Kings in the ELF last year before getting injured. So this will be my first season in the ELF.
Yeah. Okay, so you're a veteran as well.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I've been all over.
Yeah, you've okay. So I actually didn't know that about you, but you definitely play like a veteran out there. You had a great game on Saturday. How does it feel playing in Barcelona?
I appreciate it, man. Dude, it's really cool. I really like kind of our team chemistry and the bond we have as a team, and kind of the whole message that our coaching staff preaches is, on paper we may not be the most talented team in the league. We might not have the resources of some of the other teams, but as long as we stick together and kind of play hard together, that can be our strength. That kind of can be what we draw from. That can let us compete against, good teams like yourself, hopefully the Milana Seaman next week, and, some of the other great teams in our conference. Like, dude, our conference is stacked. Yeah. So, anytime like you kind of start to fall apart as a team or anything, like, it's so many freaking good teams. They'll make it pay. Like, Munich even looked really good their first game. T-Roll was firing on all cylinders, and they don't even have Platzkummer yet. The Surge is essentially Schwäbisch Hall. And Schwäbisch Hall plus many other talented players. So you can't take any games off in this league and in our conference especially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I'm impressed, man. I was just talking before you hopped on. I've been in Europe for quite some time, and when I first heard about the league, I was kind of skeptical because a lot of there's been a lot of times where leagues have started and then they kind of fail, right? Even in America, we've seen leagues fail because it's just difficult to get this sport off the ground. And so I've been really impressed with this league. When I decided to come join it, a lot of people were talking to me about coming out here and playing in it, and I was, like I said, skeptical, but all that skepticism is gone, man. This is a real deal.
Yeah, dude, it's legit. It's by far the most challenging competition I've faced since I've been in Europe. The thing about this league is every league has those couple teams who you see them on the schedule. You're like, oh, stat game, or there's no teams like that in this league. Like, on both of our schedules, every week is going to be a battle. And so that, like, I think they've done such a great job of promoting it, kind of getting really the best players from every domestic league. The first year people were kind of skeptical. There was still the GFL, the AFL, and it was strong. Last year, a lot more guys, like, just off the top of my head, like Glenn Kunga, AJ Wentland made the move from the GFL. And then it seems like this year that almost everybody has made the move to the ELF in terms of European talent. And then being able to recruit really high-end guys such as yourself, high-end imports, yourself, your quarterback Colin Hill from the SEC, your linebacker JR from USC, and guys like we have Darius Slade, Ohio State, just getting to recruit such high-end imports to supplement all the local talent that's come in. I think it's been phenomenal, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. I think you kind of hit it on the head, how in the other leagues you might have one or two games each season that you're kind of looking at. That's going to be the big game. You might have a big crowd. It might be pretty intense, but every game is going to be like that. I mean, and this will be kind of a segue into the next question, but, everybody from our experience going into playing you guys, at least from the rankings and all of that, this was supposed to be kind of the least intense of the games, and you guys were freaking beating me up out there, man. These guys, I was not ready for game one to feel so sore after the game. And so, I mean, but that, like a segue, like I said, how's it feel? I mean, I haven't followed a ton, but from what I understand, people kind of counted the Dragons out for this season. What's your message, or how do you kind of take that information and process it? How have you guys been handling that?
Everybody takes it differently. Personally, I don't put much stock into any of that stuff. Coach Black, our head coach, made a point in the press conference last week. It's all part of the show. So, before the season started, we were supposed to be, I couldn't even tell you where they had us ranked, but I guess it wasn't very good. And now everybody, it's supposed to be good. And, whoever lost week one, their season's supposed to be over.
Yeah.
I don't put any stock in any of that stuff. Some guys get really fired up by it, but, when you win, you're great. When you lose, you suck. I mean, you know how it is for at any level. But, it's good that people are talking about the league, man. When I was in the AFL or in France last year, like, nobody was making power rankings about the league. Like, nobody was making quarterback rankings or any. So just, people, like, just the fact that people are talking about it, bringing attention to our league. And, if they want to say that we suck or we're low in the power rankings, that's fine. At least they're talking about us and just helping getting this league off the ground and creating popularity. And, we just kind of make sure, spread the message to the team that the only opinions that matter are the ones that are in this building. Mm-hmm. And so that's just kind of the mindset we try to follow.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man, I was really impressed by your team. I was really impressed by some of your Spanish receivers too. I think he was a little bit shorter. I think he's number 80.
Yeah, Jordito.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to that guy. He plays with some heart, and he balled out. I was impressed. Obviously, 14 was pretty good. I mean, he dominated as well. Yeah. Is he an import?
Yeah, so he's Theo Landstrom. He's Swedish. He played in the AFL last year for the Chelsea Patriots, but this is his first time, really playing with the big boys.
No way. So, okay, so I guess I played it. I must have played against him last year in the semifinals.
Oh, right, with the Dragons. Yeah, he would. So I guess he would have, because they had an American receiver, I believe. Yeah. So he would have been like their number 2 receiver or something, but he's just like a big giraffe walking around, man. Like he's so young and raw. Like he doesn't realize like how good he can really be.
Yeah.
So he made some good plays for us, man. But dude, you guys didn't make it easy on us at all. Like freaking Maceo, number 1. My God, I'm glad we only have to play against him one more time. He's incredible.
Yeah, that's great.
Like he's everywhere. you got, and then Ken Hike, the corner, he was all over Josh all game. Josh made some good plays. Ken made some good plays. Yeah, dude, you guys got freaking dudes all over the place.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You said something just there that made me really think. You said he doesn't realize how good he is, the Swedish receiver. That's been my I think that's been my experience in Europe. Is the guys, we got some really talented guys out here, but I don't think they realize how good they are, and so they don't almost. Oftentimes, what I see is the biggest obstacle being their mindset of European players. Have you encountered that?
Absolutely, and I'm sure you'll have knowledge to this as well. I say that probably the biggest difference is, growing up having played football all our lives. Speaking for myself, I started in 6th grade football at American Heritage private school down in South Florida. We had practice 4 times a week, and we had a game on Friday. And we did that all through football season. Then in the off season, we had spring football. Mm-hmm. And so that's another 2 to 3 practices a week for a month, 2 months. Yeah. And so from 6th grade through 12th grade, that's the schedule, not to mention all your off season workouts, 7-on-7, all that. Then we go play college football. And I don't know how many hours are legally it's supposed to be all week, but how many more reps have we taken than the local guys who they get to practice, in some cases 2 times per week only during the season. And obviously the levels that we've had, the levels of coaching that we've had access to, our whole lives really, especially for myself growing up in South Florida, being able to be around former NFL players, former NFL coaches. Mm-hmm. We've made so many more mistakes and gotten coached on those mistakes and been able to overcome them, been able to see different looks, different defenses, try out different moves. So to me, that's the biggest difference is just the sheer amount of reps we've taken. But, we'll use Theo, number 14, as an example. He this is his first time really getting coached up, really getting someone breaking down, getting someone to kind of say, hey, you need to step with this foot in order to get the DB to do that. And then you do this. And, this is a guy who's 6'4", legitimate 210, big hands, can track the football really well. It's just for him kind of getting those reps and now being able to have a little bit of success, help build that confidence. I think the sky's the limit. And there's so many guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you understand and have seen everything that I've seen as well with less reps, less coaching, and overall. But all right, next question here. You've played in Austria, Germany, you said France, and now Spain. Can you rank? I know this is a bad question, but I want to do it anyway. Can you rank the local talent from each country?
The local talent. Oh, so all right.
Hot seat.
Just off of pure talent and athleticism, France is off the chain, man. Wow. France is nuts, and especially the team I played, the Flash Lacourneuve. It's in the suburbs of Paris. I'm going to butcher this word, the banlieue. Your teammates will have fun with that. The banlieue of Paris or whatever. Dude, there's so much talent there. Kind of the saying that the rival coaches say is, you throw a football at a building and 4 wide receivers and 5 DBs fall out.
That's right.
There was just freakish local talent, and a lot of them are playing for the Musketeers now.
Yeah.
And just athleticism, and that's probably the most violent mentality that I've encountered. Kind of the most similar to South Florida, where they might hit you after the whistle. Mm-hmm. They're going to get up and they're going to talk. They're going to talk to you. And, they're going to make a play and they'll let you know about it. But just a lot of, freakish athleticism. And there's a couple really good coaches in France. I don't know if there are as many as there are in places like Austria, but for a special shout out to my offensive coordinator last year, Paul Durand. He's probably the greatest French-American football player of all time, but he's the offensive coordinator for the Flash and the French national team. And, dude, I learned a ton from him. He's a great coach and a great resource for those French players to have. I'm not sure if he's involved with the Musketeers at all, but he's getting most of those guys in the French national team. And I think, the more they're around Paul, I think just the level will continue to grow. Second, so it's tough because I didn't spend much time in Germany. So I can't I played 4 games with the Crocodiles and then like 2 1/4 with Leipzig. But the second, I'm going to have to say Austria because, you look at Vienna last year, like they had a lot of good imports, but so much of their production was from local talent, guys, especially on defense, like Thomas Schnura, Florian Sudi, the big Sudi in the middle, Luis Horvath, Ben Straight. Their O-line was stacked. Florian Bierbaumer, he's a receiver tight end they have. He didn't even get to finish the season, but he put up 3 touchdowns in his first game last year. And the local talent in Austria is sweet. And you'll be able to speak to this too, being there last year. I think it really helps that, in Austria, a homegrown player is a homegrown player. Whereas in the GFL, for example, you can bring in a guy from France and he counts the same as your local guy who's come up through your youth system.
Yeah.
So for the Vikings, for the Graz Giants, you'll know more about the Dragons. But for them to be able to bring guys up through their whole system, I think that really helps develop the local talent. So I'd say France 1, Austria 2. My team in Cologne, so I'm only basing off of my teams and my experiences.
Yeah.
With my teams in Cologne and Leipzig, we were pretty heavily import. The strength of our team was more import based. So I would have to say the Dragons 3, and then Cologne 4 in terms of local talent. But Spanish talent, there's a few Spanish guys playing all around the ELF right now. Alejandro Fernandez, I think he had 14 sacks last year, Defensive Player of the Year finalist. He's with the Rhine Fire now. We have a few Spain has a few offensive linemen with Paris that played for the Dragons in years past. And then we've got a lot of good local guys on the Dragons. You spoke about Jordi Torrevilla, number 80, the receiver. He's a guy. He's 20 years old, and this is already his 3rd season in the ELF.
Wow.
So he's been coached by American coaches since he was 18 years old.
Yeah.
And then I was really fortunate. I lived in Spain this off season. My girlfriend played professional volleyball in Spain, so Jordito and I were able to train the whole off season together and kind of getting those reps together. And
that's huge.
Talking about, all right, you're going to run this seam. They're going to play too high. You want to attack the safety, bend it, and little things like that we're able to talk about. That really helped. So kind of tying it all back, I think we have a lot of really good young, talented players on the Dragons who, we have a great coaching staff. So just being able to, the more time they can spend with our coaching staff, I think the level will only get higher and higher and higher.
Yeah.
So just in summary, I'd have to go France 1 with the Flash, Austria 2 between Graz and Vienna, my Spain 3, and then only speaking about this is only speaking about my teams in Germany. So don't get mad at me, German 4.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm excited to hear all the feedback we get and we're gonna get a lot of heat. You're gonna get a lot of heat from the Germans for that, but it was pretty funny, man, because like you were talking about Paris, right, being the most athletic team. When we showed up, because we scrimmaged them like our first game or whatever, or before y'all, and I showed up there and I was like, this is where all the black guys are in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, yeah.
They're all in France.
Dude, yeah. They're like, that was like a lot of my teammates had, a lot of African ancestry, African parents, and it, like, dude, this, like I said, the speed and athleticism were just completely off the charts. Like much different than it was in Austria or Germany or other places I've been.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like, typically when you play out here, you kind of spot the imports pretty quickly. When we played Paris, I was like, I have no idea who the import is here.
dude, yeah. It's like they're for example, like Stefan Fortes, I believe he wears 15 for the Musketeers. Like, dude, he plays like an American in the sense of like the IQ, the speed, like the hands, like his way he runs his routes. Like, dude, they're all so athletic, man. Like, he's been better than a lot of American imports I've seen out here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they do. I know when we were over there, man, they got a great facility. They got a great staff. They got people helping with like logistics, and like their organization, you definitely can tell has a lot more money than we do. But I mean, but with all that comes a lot of high expectations. So I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of high expectations for Paris this year.
Yeah, that's it. I don't know really much about the Musketeers. Cause, the team I played for, the Flash. Like, man, we were in the hood.
Yeah.
Like they call it the Neuf Bois. It's the 93rd. I don't know how you describe it. It's the area of Paris. Like, that's the hood, man. So we had a nice facility, a nice field, and everything. But like, dude, we were a 2-minute walk from the projects, all our facilities. So.
Well,
that's interesting to hear.
From what I hear, Paris Musketeers took like the entire Flash team, right? Something like that.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much, yeah.
It's hilarious. Yeah. One of the things that they said was that a lot their players are all like bodyguards and bouncers, and all of our players are all surgeons and doctors.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, can we get a couple bouncers?
Yeah. Dude, so it was crazy. Our games, like I remember talking to my coach, Paul Duran, who I was talking about. We had a game on a Sunday afternoon, because usually the games are set like Saturday evening, Saturday night. But we had a game last year on a Sunday afternoon, and like a quarter of the team was missing. I'm like, Paul, like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, it's not good if we play Sunday afternoon because everybody's getting off work around 9 a.m.
Dang.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, so we were a little short-staffed for that one. But
that's wild, man.
Dude, those guys just enjoy hitting people. They just enjoy whacking people, whether on the field or in the club.
Yeah. Bro, but that right there is quite literally makes American football so extraordinary, is these – local players all have full-time jobs, right? We as imports are the only ones who get to have this sport be our job. Everyone else has full-time jobs. In Switzerland, bro, it is mind-blowing. My backup running back, well, I'm kind of playing all over the field, but my running back that I have spent the most amount of time with is a surgeon, bro. And he literally will come to practice. A surgeon. And he'll come to practice. He came to practice the other day, and he was like, oof, rough day. And I was like, what happened? He was like, there was a bus accident. And he was like, 7 ambulances showed up to the hospital, and he was like in there, like doing surgery like an hour before practice. Then he just like shows up to practice. I'm like, that is actually incredible.
Bro, that blows my mind. That is nuts, dude. I've heard of some interesting jobs. I've never heard of a surgeon coming to play football. Yeah. That's crazy.
I think we have multiple doctors on our team, and then multiple engineers. Like here in Switzerland, everybody's kind of they're pretty smart, wealthy.
That's incredible. That was one of the things I remember. Like my when I was playing in Graz was like. We had a guy on our team who was a bouncer, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, I just want to win this game for this guy because I don't want him to have to go to work and just think about like, man, like I gave it my all and we lost, and now I have to go freaking stand in a nightclub. Yeah. I'm like, how can I ever complain about anything?
Right. Yeah. For the sake of all the people that are coming into that club, if he's just pissed all night long, let's win the game.
Yeah, honestly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's. I have 2 more questions, and we could talk for hours, but I want to try to keep them somewhat concise. Let's talk about our game. How'd you think about the first game?
God, man, it was freaking nice being reunited with my old pal Tim Haney. Holy crap, guy. You guys have a really solid team. It was pretty almost impossible to scout a team who literally didn't exist last year.
Yeah. So
it'll be nice next time having some film, but you guys just have talent all over the place. Like I talked about defensively with Savai, with him, the guys on the D line, Ken Hayek, Maceo, the other French, Chaska. And then, dude, playing against you, man, is terrifying. It's like everyone knows where this ball is going, and we still can't stop it. I mean, they line you up in the backfield, they put you out wide. It was freaking terrifying, like I told you. But it was, obviously happy on our end to be able to come out with a win, a really hard fought game. But yeah, I'm sore. I was definitely pretty sore Sunday, Monday, Tuesday after that one. And
how'd you feel? How'd you feel in the first drive when the center snaps it over your head and we get that touchdown right off the get go?
I was like, oh man, is this going to be one of those games? I was just like, you got to be kidding me, man. But our center, he's the greatest dude in the world. His name's Elvis. Doesn't speak a lick of English.
Yep.
But he's his first year at center because the center from the Dragons actually signed with the Musketeers last year. So he's still kind of learning it. He calmed down after that. Finished the game really, really well. But yeah, after that one, we had a little curl concept on, and I'm already going through my pre-snap reads, and then I see the ball go over my head, and I go, oh no. And then I was like, all right, at least I'll pick it up, I'll dive on it, and nope, it comes to buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was the back of his jersey. So after that, I'm like, man, it's just gonna be one of those days. But unfortunately, we were able to come out. We calmed down for a little bit.
Yeah.
And go down and finish a couple drives.
Yeah, man. I was really, like I said, I was really impressed by the fact that you guys just turned around. You stayed calm. You came back out, and then you scored the next drive. And I played on teams, and this is very typical for Europe, where something bad like that happens or you start off really poorly, like guys kind of just get down and then the game is just shot. Like you literally get blown out. And so that was really impressive. And it just speaks again to the different mentality of this league than some of the others.
Yeah, for sure. It's like what you said. When I was playing in Graz in 2021, it's like, some guys were almost waiting, like we're up on the Vienna Vikings in the semifinal, and it's like guys like almost waiting. All right, like what's going to go wrong?
Yeah.
Like kind of expecting something to just kind of snowball and bad to happen. So it was nice, to see the guys fight back, and our coaching staff kind of kept us in the right mindset. Like, hey, next play, so what? It's over. Can't change it. We just got to go back and answer. So happy with the way the guys responded.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say my I'm going to real quick hit my first thoughts of the game because I haven't shared mine either, and then I want to hear yours, and then we'll go to the next game. But I would say my first thoughts concisely would be the speed is faster for sure than some of the other leagues in the middle of the season. It felt like I just finished – the last game I played was in the Austrian Championship, and this game felt like that game. Like it felt like one of the higher games already. So that was like my first thought. Second thought was I was really impressed with the Spanish receivers and also the defense. Like they actually were flying around. They weren't scared to hit. That was really impressive. And then I don't know why this popped in my head, but that your coach is Mexican. He's the first Mexican. Your coach is the first Mexican coach I've met in Europe, which is super cool, and also speaks to how connected all of this is. So those were my three. I'll give three. What about you?
Yeah, so with Coach Black, our head coach, we actually have 4 Mexican coaches on our staff. Our head coach, and who's also our defensive coordinator, and then our offensive coordinator, Coach Mickey Romero. They're both Mexican. Our corner coach / strength and conditioning coach is also Mexican, and our assistant GM is also Mexican. So something that was really cool that kind of our GM's focus was he wanted to build a coaching staff that at least most of them spoke both English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Just to be able to communicate with the local guys, and I think that's really helped a lot. Like I gave an example, Elvis doesn't speak any English.
Mm-hmm.
Our starting center. So for our offensive line coach, sorry, Coach Nuno, if you're watching this, sorry, I promise I didn't forget you. he's also Mexican. So for him to be able to communicate with Elvis in Spanish, and then with our right tackle Ben Dixon, who's from the UK, speak to him in English, I think that that really helps, and that's really really an advantage for us. Where teams I've been on in the past with an all-American coaching staff and, for example, German-speaking players, I think there's definitely some things getting lost in translation. So,
yeah.
Getting back to the game, kind of the three things. Not gonna lie, when we got there and it was a freaking downpour, I was like, oh God, like what is this gonna be?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really know what to expect. First game in front of the fans in Terrassa was awesome. I thought our fans were incredible. They showed up early in the rainstorm, stayed late, were singing the whole time. And then I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little starstruck after the game meeting Norm Chow. Kind of a legend of football.
Yeah.
Being able to compete against him was really cool. He's someone who I think most quarterbacks know and are familiar with his work. And so to be able to speak to him after the game and, for him to congratulate me, I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah.
So those are first three things that popped into my mind. But
yeah.
If I can ask you, how is Norm Chow? How is it playing for him?
Man, it's awesome. He really is like a grandpa. He's like he feels like a grandpa. He's constantly he has so many stories. Like on the bus, I'll just ask him story after story because he coached Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Carson Palmer, Phillip Rivers. Like he coached all these guys with the USC national championship team. I grew up watching that team. That was my favorite team of all time. If you asked me like what was the best college football team of all time, I would say like 2002 Trojans, 2001, 2002. Those guys, that was like my idol. I grew up in California, and so he'll just casually tell me like, oh yeah, like talking to Phillip Rivers the other day and blah blah blah, or tell me stories about Pete Carroll and this, these teams that I grew up watching. He would tell me like the stories of them. He told me the story of when Snoop Dogg came to practice. Like Pete Carroll just brought Snoop Dogg to practice one day and he rapped for the team. Will Ferrell just would show up to practices and run routes. Like
no
crazy stories, man. He would just tell me all these stories, and so it feels kind of like a grandpa. The other is that I've just been so impressed with the fact that he's like I think 70 maybe, but he's still in great shape, walks around all the time, at first, I kind of thought maybe he would be like other coaches who come here and who just expect a much higher football IQ, but he has adapted really well to that, and so no, it's been an honor playing for him for sure.
Yeah, when you get a chance, ask him if he has any Lane Kiffin stories.
He already does. Like he told me. I don't know how much I'm supposed to say, but he told me Lane, I guess Lane grew up super wealthy or something, and like he just like that's why he just flies by the seat of his pants. He once told like he was a young guy. Like I guess his dad got him a job at USC, and he was just kind of just like free spirit, and Coach Norm was like, Lane, like, are you gonna take this seriously or something like that type. I'm butchering the story, but he said Lane was just like, Norm, I don't have to work a day in my life if I don't have to, so I don't really care. Like, and it kind of shows in like how he coaches and how he just says whatever, he does whatever, and it kind of gave me some respect. The guy was just like, yo, like I'm gonna be me and do whatever.
Yeah, I'll say with Coach Kiff, I'd say whatever you've heard, good or bad, probably true.
Yeah.
He's a character, man. He's a good time.
Did you play with him at some point?
I did. I played for him at FAU.
Okay.
FAU for my 10 years there. Yeah, he was our head coach, and then Coach Kendall Bryles, our mutual friend.
Yeah.
My first year was the OC, and then Coach Charlie Weiss the second year.
Okay.
But, yeah, man. Coach. We had Coach Lane. And then the first year, he was the head coach, and then his brother Chris was our defensive coordinator.
Gotcha.
And then their dad, Monty Kiffin, the legend, he was just kind of, I don't know his actual
just
title,
around.
but they just wanted him to be around the program.
Yeah.
And dude, he's the greatest guy you'll ever meet. Monty Kiffin's a legend.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Yeah. All right, man. Last question. How you got semen this week?
yeah, we go to Milan this week. We go to.
Sorry, man. That's the word. To this day, man. When I first heard about that team, I couldn't understand why they picked that name. Anyway. Sorry. Back to being a grown up. Milano this week. You got Milano this week. How you feel about that game?
I'm excited, but I mean, once again, I don't know how it happened, but our first two teams are two teams who are new to the ELF, so we have no film of this year's team, and because they had to buy the first week, so in some ways, not sure what to expect. I know that the Velodrome is going to be rocking for their first game in the league, and I talked to Luke Zaradka, their quarterback, a little bit.
Yeah,
I was like, man, does this mean we can't be friends this week? Or what's going on?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, we can be friends before and after the game.
Yeah.
But I know he's fired up. They've got some great players. I know Gene Constant was here in Barcelona. A lot of guys know him, speak really highly of him. Their coach Picorni, was actually the coach of the Danube Dragons, your guys, when I played against them in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And I met him at the ELF Championship this year. What an awesome guy he is. Like, came up, introduced himself, and we got to speak for a little while. And so, excited to see those guys. I know he's going to have that team really prepared. It's such a proud franchise with so much history. They'll be, they're going to come out ready to play. We know that. So, we got to be able to match the energy and, see what happens. Never been to Milan, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
But, I feel like I should ask you for the scouting report of playing there.
Yeah, actually, that was my last game in Italy before Danube last year. So 3 years ago, played in the championship against them. I don't want to talk about it. I cramped in the third quarter, and then it all went downhill from there. But now Luke is a great guy. I know Luke, and they got a great program as well. I'm excited to see how they do in the ELF. I think what they really have going for them is they just have a long history of playing together. A lot of those guys have been together for a long time, and so they're going to be a tough team. But wish you all the best, man. I'm excited to see you again here in Switzerland and play you again, and had fun. And I'm glad that you're out here. It always just, I love football and I love winning, but for me, just being out here and getting to experience this and help grow the game is bigger for me. So when I see guys like you here and continuing to come back out and thrive, it just really makes me happy. So I'm glad to see you're out here being successful.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me. And like I said, man, it was awesome competing against you. Looking forward to seeing you again as a friend. As a competitor, we're definitely gonna have to come up with some ways to try to keep the ball out of your hand. Try to keep the ball out of your hands. Mm-hmm. But yeah, dude, obviously your resume speaks for itself. You're one of the best to ever do it over here. So thank you again for having me, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you. Good luck this week.
Yeah, dude. Take it easy.
All right, brother.
Bye. Good dude, Conor Miller, everybody. He's going to be playing in Milan this weekend. We, the Helvetic Guards, will be playing here in Switzerland. So if you're in the Switzerland area or Southern Germany or anywhere, if you want to fly from America, you can do that too. But get your tickets. I'll put the link in the description if you want to come to the game. Love to meet you. Peace, love, and all the rest. Love you guys. Have a great day.